Ahora, and now our last but not least speaker is Maria Bracco. Maria Bracco MacArthur is the Minority Women and Service Disabled Owned Business Program Coordinator at Stony Brook University and works within the procurement department to open up opportunities to smaller companies that might not have the chance to work at Stony Brook. She is on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at Stony Brook University and is also the secretary of the newly formed chapter of Long Island and Women Construction Owners and Executives, WCOE, which is dedicated to supporting women in the many facets of the construction industry. Maria Bracco MacArthur es la coordinadora del programa de negocios de propiedad de minoría, mujeres y veteranos discapacitados en la Universidad de Stony Brook y trabaja dentro del departamento de adquisiciones para adquirir oportunidades a empresas más pequeñas que podrían no tener la oportunidad de trabajar en Stony Brook. Ella está en el Comité de Diversidad e Inclusión de la universidad y también es la secretaria de un capítulo recién formado de Long Island de mujeres propietarias y ejecutivas de la construcción, que en sí sus siglas son WCOE, que se dedica a apoyar a las mujeres en las múltiples facetas de la industria de la construcción. Please join me in welcoming Maria. Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, for being here. Can you please share a little about Stony Brook University as well as business and employment opportunities for small businesses? Thank you.
I would love to. I'm going to share my screen.
Thank you.
And okay, can you see my screen with the presentation?
Yes.
We can see
okay.
it.
Oh, do I hear a no?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, thank you very much. So
Yes,
we can see it.
welcome from Stony Brook. My name is Maria Bracco MacArthur. I am the MWBE program coordinator, just as Jacqueline walked you through. Stony Brook has been designated as a flagship university according to the governor. Our mission at Stony Brook is to provide a great education and experience for our students and to be a good neighbor to our community. So at Stony Brook, diversity and inclusion is for everyone. It's for students, it's for faculty, it's for staff, and it's for the companies that work on our campus and help us run our small city. We would be a town like Brookhaven National Labs, except we have all these students there. So that pushes us over the line to become a small city. So quickly, this is a map. This overall map is showing the main buildings on our campus. It doesn't highlight some of the areas like over on the left bottom and the right at the top that have to do with students. This isn't dorms, it's more of the classroom settings and places where the education is given. It also does not include the hospital. That's a completely separate entity as far as the university is concerned. So here's what I want to discuss tonight. Jacqueline asked me some questions, and I thought the easiest way to answer the questions was to put them right on the screen. So we are running a small city, and we need a wide range of services and products. And where Mary had a list of services that BNL buys and doesn't buy, we still buy some of the services that BNL doesn't buy. So at times there is a need for legal services in addition to what we have. At times there's advertising in addition to what our communications department will put forward. So overall, there's a wide range of contracts for construction, contracts for all types of services. There are contracts and purchase orders for supplies and for equipment just to keep the campus running. It's not only what is student facing, but it is also all of the research labs at the campus too. And there's a tremendous amount of research being done on so many different areas at that university. So the second question is MWBE certification required? And my answer is, it is not required, but it is very, very helpful. In some situations, we can limit a bid opportunity to minority and women-owned businesses or to service disabled veteran-owned businesses. So you would need to be certified in order for me to find you in that pool. And sometimes it's the local availability that helps us make the decision. Yes, we will use our discretionary authority and set aside a procurement for minority and women-owned businesses, or we will look at what the local presence is. And if we decide there aren't enough, then we open up more of a formal bid situation. So the next question had to do with the certification. So the certification is granted in this case by New York State's Empire State Development. Ross was talking about a New York City economic development, but for Stony Brook as a state university, we can only accept a state certification. So that's granted by Empire State Development, and your company would have to be owned, either a minority or women owned by at least 51% in order to meet the requirements of ESD. So she asked what the requirements are, and right in this presentation is a link towards that. It will take you to Empire State Development's website, which is also known as the New York State Contract System. But I'm also told that she's already covered that in another course, so I don't want to put time into doing that tonight. If there are questions, you could always let me know about it. So she asked some more questions, and so I have some more answers. So how long does the process take? And my diplomatic and gracious answer is at least a year, but in some cases, it's taking 2 years. The agency at Empire State Development is very short-staffed, and there are more applications than they can look at in a short time. But I would suggest that if you are considering doing any business with New York State after tonight's presentation, that you really take a look and consider about getting the certification, just so you can be certified in the situation where we will set aside a procurement to minority or women-owned businesses. And it's not only Stony Brook. On the island is Farmingdale State College, Old Westbury, Stony Brook Hospital, that's also known as Stony Brook Medicine. And the last group for people who are located closer to Queens and Brooklyn is SUNY Downstate, which is a medical school in the heart of Brooklyn, basically. So there are other places that would be making use of a New York State certification, not just Stony Brook. So how can you all find out about our upcoming bids? In a minute, we're going to take a look at the Stony Brook's procurement system. So what are the requirements to get contracts at SBU? And I would have to say that the requirements are outlined in each bid, because each bid is different and unique from every other. And I will also tell you there's a lot of paperwork to go through. So if you think you want to do business with Stony Brook, I would recommend that you take a look at our website and our procurement portal and start taking a look at some of the exhibits that are on a bid that maybe the bid doesn't pertain to you at all, but it might be worth looking at downloading some of the documents so you can see the documents and you can see the requirements that we expect when you come do business with us. So the last comment there is a recommendation. And basically, I would say, be sure you thoroughly understand all the requirements, not only all the documents and all the New York State laws, but also all of the requirements before you submit a bid. I know of a situation that is not with a minority or woman-owned business. It's a prime contractor, that it's a majority company. It's not an MRW. And the company's not performing very well, so they have to keep redoing the work that they're doing. And it is really slowing down the project, but we need the work done, which is why we contracted with them. And that's where it ties into me to be sure that you can meet all the requirements that we put forward in our bid documents, because that will be our expectation to be able to do that. Okay, so to move along, I have some advice basically overall on behalf of New York State, which would allow you to work with so many agencies. And that is, I'm repeating myself, but obtain the ESD certification when you can. And you want to register with the New York State contract system and get familiar with the system. I'm going to try to bring myself over there to a new share. And I'm hoping you all can see what this screen looks like. Are you seeing the New York City skyline on your screens?
Yes,
we can see.
perfect.
Yes, excellent. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
we can
very
see it.
much for replying. So on this screen, typically when I'm going to do my day-to-day type of work, I would log in. But even before you do that, you can scroll down and see more information about the New York State program. The New York State program is one of the most encompassing programs in the country. It's a 30% goal for minority and women-owned businesses throughout the state. And there are, SUNY is one of many, many, many New York State agencies, and all of the agencies have the requirement to make that 30% goal. So you can see here that there's some training, there are recorded sessions, there are live sessions you can sign up for so you can ask questions from the training team, upcoming events, different bids around the state. You could search the directory if you wanted to look at other things, other companies. You're looking for a company you want to partner with. The directory is a good tool there. So there's a lot of things that you can do on this screen. And now I'm going back to my presentation. Okay, so hopefully now you are back. So everybody's back. Okay,
Yeah.
So on this page, I would like to close out that if you pursue New York State certification, a lot is dependent on your email address, because there'll be somebody like me at Stony Brook trying to contact you for one reason or another. And when you've changed your email address, or if there's a little bit of an error in it and your message doesn't go through, it makes it really hard for me to reach you. So, and that would also have to do with anytime we're going to go to bid and we're looking for companies, it's another avenue for contacting the companies. So I recently was at a bidders conference a few weeks ago, and I think that I did my own outreach. So our system, our procurement system, will do an outreach to all of our minority and women-owned businesses that turn up on our goal setting directory. But I reached out to them myself, and I was very happy to see at least 10 minority and women-owned businesses at the event. They're learning about what the requirements are, and they're deciding either that, yes, I can bid this job directly, or no, I can't bid it directly, but I still want to work with a prime contractor. And that's the opportunity to meet the prime contractors. And I was just so happy that companies came out on my behalf. I was really very happy about that. So I want to give some Stony Brook advice. And this is how to do business more so with Stony Brook. So right here is our website. And I don't want to go to it right now because I want to spend some time in the procurement system. But from our website, you can register not only with us as a vendor, but you can register with the New York State Contract Reporter. And if you don't know what that is, every agency in New York State that's going to spend $50,000 or more has to place an ad in the Contract Reporter. So all we do is we take out a basic ad. It's not fancy like a newspaper. It's basically another website portal that you have to check into. But once you're there, you would be able to see every opportunity posted throughout the state. So it will be posted by different regions and different agencies. So something like the Department of Transportation could be all across the state. So there are 29 SUNY campuses, but there is also a SUNY-wide administration up in Albany. And sometimes the SUNY office in Albany needs some sort of service. So every group spending $50,000 or more will place their ad. So once you register with the contract reporter, you want to check that maybe every week or twice a week and just see if there are any opportunities that look interesting to you. And sometimes it's worth checking the opportunities that really don't look interesting, so you can just see some of what those requirements are. So when we put an ad from Stony Brook in the contract reporter, now we'll have a few links in it, and the links take you to our procurement system. So we're going to look at that in a few minutes. It used to be, before we were using this newer version of the procurement system, that the bids were listed on our website. So I would say check that website for bidder information also. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, come to our bidders conference. Many of them are mandatory for construction projects. And so what you want to do, even if the project is larger than you are ready to handle, you come and meet all the prime contractors that are going to be submitting bids, hand out your business card, and take a picture of the sign-in sheet with your phone. So when you get back to your office, you can see the email addresses, the phone numbers, the contact information for all these companies. And from there, you're able to contact them and introduce yourself and tell them you want to be part of this bid. So next is, you can always send me your capability statement. I keep them on file and I keep a spreadsheet. So when my boss comes along and says, hey, I want to know, do you have any M&W companies for such and such? I can quickly look that up for her. So a lot of what your business has to do with is looking up website after website. And I apologize, I'm adding to your list, but the stonybrook.edu is the overall Stony Brook site. My department is procurement. You can also find me through this site directory here, which lists probably close to 300 departments at Stony Brook. So from there, if you have whatever, based on what your business is, you want to look for the department that's most likely to need your services. So, and from there, once you're in that department's website, you should be able to find their organization chart. And with the organization chart, you can probably find a person or two or three to make your initial contact to. And then the last point is to contact our sisters on the island, which is Stony Brook Medicine, Farmingdale, Old Westbury, and SUNY Downstate. So there's a lot to cover here. So I know I'm moving quickly. I'll look at the chat in a couple of minutes, but just in general, these are unofficial numbers and they are numbers that I reconcile. So these are my numbers. From the beginning of New York State's fiscal year, which was back in April, to the end of the last month that I have data for, and that's December. December was my last month. Over the period from April through December, we spent almost $34.5 million on contract payments and PO payments. Of that, just over $11 million was spent with M&W companies. So our spend was 32%. We have a 30% goal, and we view that as really the starting point. And our expectation is always to be above the 30% mark. When we go to bid with a new building and we go to contract with a new building, that is the best opportunity for us to include participation from all sorts of companies, service disabled, minority, women-owned. And I'm hoping that we're going to go to bid for a new building in the Research and Development Park where my office is located. I'm hoping that we're going to be going to bid before the end of the year because that's a wonderful opportunity for Stony Brook to make sure that we meet the New York State goals and also to open up opportunities for smaller businesses. So I'm really looking forward to that event myself. So to keep going, and I mentioned it's so many websites to check, but we're going to dive into this Stony Brook platform in a second. But I also want to show you the next page because I can make this presentation available and you'll have all this. This is where we're going to go next. But if you're looking at it at some point in the future and you can't recall the details, take a look on YouTube because there's a video there. This is more back to my department with the vendor database portal. So you can make an account and log in and look at the opportunities. And here's the New York State contract reporter in case you want to log in and create an account there before you want to look at all of the Stony Brook information. So I'm going to click this link and hope it's going to take me to where I want to go. And I'm just logging in here for a second. Okay, so now I have a new share. Okay, and hopefully you're now in the web page. It says Jaeger Supplier Network up on top. Okay, can somebody just, are you also there? Excellent, thank you, because I don't want to start without it. So basically, there will be a login page before this. So you'll need your email address to create an account. And then, of course, you need a password like you do for every single other website. So once you take care of that, you log in and you will be able to see different information. I'm logging in on my coworkers' information. It's Jonathan Rios, who is an excellent resource. I would have loved
bilingual.
I would have loved for him to be here tonight because he is bilingual and would have given the presentation, this portion in Spanish, and it's just beautiful to listen to him. So what he would do would be to take you down to this section for State University of New York. And we have events for Stony Brook and we have other events on here. It's a matter of how much time you have to play around with this. So this should load in just a second. And right now I see things that are closed. So I'm looking for where the open ones are. Let me see what I did here. I may have done something wrong. I'm going to go back. Oh, I can't go back. Okay, here we go. So this would be not the best example because let me see if I can filter. Okay, so now we have things that are canceled and I want things that are new. Okay, so I'm going to just for an example, I'm going to have to work off of a closed bid. So the bid opportunity is already done, but I want to show you around in this. So it's State University of New York, and in this case, it's not differentiating between Stony Brook and several other campuses. But if I get it correct, maybe this will do it. We can sometimes, okay, this is actually really good. You can sometimes see beyond Stony Brook because this system is now being used at many other SUNYs. And I think the goal is that all SUNYs would be using the same program at some point in the near future. So here we have 3 open opportunities. These 2 are for design services. There's going to be a new warehouse set up so that the staff that handles the dorming has a place to put equipment and supplies. In this case, this is a design scenario to move a rehabilitation lab from the building that I'm actually located in into the athletic complex on campus. So if you are an architect company, these would be bids that are coming due very soon, so you'd want to be looking at them right away. This is a different situation. It's temporary rentals of generators in case power goes out. I'm not sure. I think we have our own power plant. but utilities are very expensive to run at the university, and sometimes you need a temporary generator. So that's what this bid is for. So generally, if you view the event, what will happen is as you go through this setup of requirements, you pass everything that needs to be done, download documents, maybe read them, sign them, and then upload them, you would get the green check mark that this one is gray. And as you proceed, they would become green. And when you have all green, you have a review and submit, and you can put everything, all your documents there. So this opening event, which I think we are up at the prerequisites, okay, maybe it's just description. This would tell you it's Stony Brook University, and we're looking for labor, equipment, materials, etc. for all of our properties, which is Stony Brook University and Southampton, and actually some other places. There are a handful of other properties that we do own. But right here, it's telling you to provide temporary rental portable electric generators. So that tells you right there, do I want to look at this further or not? And if you do, you're going to want to keep going, and you're going to want to see where the scope of work is. So you should be able to find it through here. It's outlined, bidder summary information right here. So the other thing is there's a long list of exhibits, A, A1, D, E, H, N, L, it's like the alphabet, T, and V. And so there's a long list of documents that are required. So under exhibits and forms, you will find most of these documents. So where I tell you earlier in the presentation that New York State has a lot of requirements, you want to be familiar with what all of the requirements are from basically the legal side of things. And then you want to go into the scope of work, and you want to make sure that you can meet all of those requirements. So my recommendation would be that you take a look at maybe a bid that you're not interested in, or one that has a very long time frame, and sort of get acquainted with what the requirements are. So in this case, we have a scope of work, and I'm hoping that you will still be able to see this scope of work. So can you see the new screen of the successful bidder will be required? Yes. Okay, excellent. So here's our scope of work, where we're going to tell you how many generators we want and what the requirements are, and more electrical details and requirements like this. So the scope of work may not pertain to you when you're looking at one of our requirements, but you want to see that we're going to ask for OSHA requirements if you come on our campus. And then there are parking permit requirements that when you come on campus. And then there are overall how your staff behaves when they're on our campus, because it's not only faculty and staff, but we really watch out for all of our students. So there are a lot of requirements, pages and pages of requirements. And prevailing wage is often a requirement, and the certified payroll often goes along with this. So there are a lot of requirements, and I'm not explaining this to intimidate anybody. I really just want it to be very clear that New York State and Stony Brook have a lot of requirements, and you really want to get familiar with them first before you're really in a situation where you want to apply for a bid. And then if the bid is due at a particular time, like 1 or 2 o'clock, you really want to submit it in advance, maybe early that morning in case there's a problem, or the night before. So if you're trying to upload all the documents, the last hour before the bid is due, there's a chance you might do all that work and it might not upload in time, and then your bid might not be received. And that's a lot of work on your part for all of the requirements. and all of the paperwork that you've put into it once you've decided, yes, I want to bid. And then, you might have lost all that time if your bid isn't received. So you definitely don't want to wait till the last moment. Definitely, please plan in advance. So I want to go back just to my last page, if I can, because I want to share my screen one last time, because I have my contact information right here. So I have a long last name, so it's a shortened name from my email. I am the MWBE program coordinator for the university. I work in the procurement department. And if you call me or email me, I will do my best to answer your questions. Sometimes I have to bring in other people, but it's my pleasure to help you and also to be on this program tonight. So thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. Very educational. Thank you so much for your insight. And it's very helpful. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will translate, traduciré súper rápido, porque yo sé que ya estamos sobre el tiempo, pero me parece súper importante lo que acabo de compartir María, porque es del, imagínense, les dijo cómo iban paso a paso a poder hacer las consultas. O sea que vamos entonces con esto. María da la bienvenida a Stony Brook, dice que somos el buque insignia de Sony, según la gobernadora de Hopur. La misión de la universidad es brindar una excelente educación y experiencia a los estudiantes. El SBO es para ellos es la diversidad y la inclusión, es para todos, estudiantes, profesores, personal, las empresas, porque todos están allí, ¿cierto? Y ayudan a administrar en esa pequeña ciudad. La universidad es prácticamente una pequeña ciudad. Mostró un mapa de la ciudad universitaria sin incluir los dormitorios. El resumen de los temas tratados según algunas preguntas que le envía María es esta. En cuanto a las oportunidades de negocio, dice que la universidad es como una ciudad pequeña, por lo que hay una amplia gama de contratos de servicios, a veces contratos de construcción, compras de suministro, equipos como productos básicos también. Para obtener contratos con la universidad no se requiere la certificación, pero ayuda. ¿Sí? La certificación, que hay algunos negocios que se hacen o algunos bids que sí requiere que tengan la certificación. En ese caso debe ser del estado de Nueva York. No habla de una certificación adicional, es la que se procesa con el estado de Nueva York. María comparte el link donde se solicitan, y solo para recordarles que debe ser solicitada por un ciudadano americano con residencia permanente y su empresa debe ser al menos en un 51% propiedad de minorías o de mujeres, o debe de cumplir con los demás requisitos que nosotros ya vimos en las reuniones anteriores. Para quienes no hayan estado, nuevamente les digo, en nuestra página del SBDC, en la sesión eventos en español, allí van a poder encontrar los entrenamientos pasados. En este momento, obtener la certificación se puede estar llevando entre 1 año y 2 años, porque hay muchas solicitudes acumuladas, pero sé porque de una fuente muy cercana que están aplicando unos cambios muy fuertes en este momento para acelerar estos procesos. Entonces es muy probable que en poco tiempo nos den varias sorpresas y ese proceso, que es tan extenso, tan largo, pueda ser mucho más cortico. Con relación a los requisitos exigidos para obtener los contratos, la señora Bracco menciona que cada oferta tiene sus propios requisitos. Entonces, los cuales se deben describir en los documentos de la oferta. Entonces, por eso ya estaba mostrando cómo se entra a la página, se revisa el bid y luego entonces se pide cuáles son los requisitos que tiene, y ya así de esa manera ustedes pueden darse cuenta si pueden aplicar o no. Algunas recomendaciones que ella comparte es asegurarse de comprender todos los requisitos antes de presentar una oferta y trabajar sea con una abogada, con el SBC, con PITA, con el equipo de adquisiciones de Stony Brook, de la universidad que ellos tienen ahí en procurement, en caso de que necesiten alguna información adicional. Recomienda también solicitar la certificación del Estado de Nueva York y configurar una cuenta en el sistema de contratos del Estado de Nueva York. Este es el portal para las empresas MWBE como contratistas principales y subcontratistas. Allí se encuentran todos los cursos disponibles, como ella lo mostró, pues. Asegurarse de que la dirección de correo que ustedes entreguen siempre sea esté actualizada. Si ustedes cambian en algún momento el correo electrónico, deben actualizarlo inmediatamente en el portal, porque si no, entonces se pueden perder todas las oportunidades. Se debe visitar el sitio web de procurement del SBU de Stony Brook para registrarse como proveedor y registrarse en el reportero de contratos del Estado de Nueva York que les mencioné, yo creo que fue la semana pasada cuando estuvimos en el webinar. También recomienda asistir a las conferencias de licitaciones para conocer a las empresas que estarán ofertando y consultar el directorio del sitio web de Stony Brook. Ella hizo una breve demostración de cómo acceder al sistema de adquisiciones de la universidad. Primero hay que crear una cuenta con su dirección de correo electrónico y una contraseña. Luego inician la sesión. Desde allí pueden ver las oportunidades abiertas. Si hacen clic en la sección de la izquierda, pueden ver los diferentes requisitos, documentos de la oferta. Y si tienen interés en ofertar, deben revisar los documentos que son anticipados para que todo esté listo cuando sea el momento de la oferta. Así les rinde más. Dice que la página es muy breve, es de fácil acceso, así pues que sea esa una invitación muy importante para que aprovechen esas oportunidades que también se están ofreciendo con la Universidad de Stony Brook. Bueno, Mary, Maria, and Rose, thank you for your enlightening, informative, and encouraging presentation. And to all of you for taking the time to attend the event tonight, we invite you to work on the continuous improvement of your business. And we look forward to seeing you in the second part of the program that will begin in April 5th and finish in April 26th. Have a good night. Bueno, para todos, entonces, pues esto es todo. Quería expresar unos agradecimientos a estos invitados tan súper extremadamente especiales que se han tomado el tiempo de compartirnos lo mejor de lo mejor en esencia. Y bueno, yo considero que esto va a ser de verdad algo para que ustedes todos lo aprovechen. A todos ustedes, muchísimas gracias por asistir. Esperamos que les haya gustado, que les sirva en particular, pues eso es lo que esperamos. Y bueno, los esperamos en la otra parte del programa. Recuerden que el programa continúa. Esta primera parte que se acabó tenía que ver cómo certificarse como minoría. Ahora empieza la otra parte, es cómo obtener los contratos. Ya vimos, bueno, ya la primera parte, incluso a partir de la fecha empezamos 2 meses de asesoría constante con ustedes. Entonces, las personas que quieran mejorar su negocio, las personas que quieran prepararse para certificarse, las personas que quieran aplicar para las certificaciones como minoría, entonces deben de pedir una cita en la oficina de Stony Brook. Puede ser que yo lo atienda, puede ser que con Ri, porque también hay otra persona que los puede atender. Lo importante es que vamos a tener esos 2 meses. Y ya luego entonces empezamos de nuevo en martes 5 de abril de 6 a 7 y media vamos a tener cómo escribir una propuesta de licenciación, de una propuesta ganadora. En marzo, el martes 12 de abril vamos a tener un financiamiento de empresas con certificación en WBE, que ahí va a estar el Bank of America. A propósito, muchas gracias al banco por darnos esta oportunidad, por financiar este proyecto que esperamos que sea de gran importancia para la comunidad hispana aquí en Long Island y en el estado de Nueva York. Y también allí va a estar la Fuerza Unida CDC y el SBA. Y en marzo 19, mucho cuidado porque vamos a tener un día de oportunidades de licenciación, de licitaciones o de bids. O sea que allí ustedes van a poder reunirse, conocer directamente con personas encargadas de las diferentes áreas o agencias o de las agencias comerciales, de las agencias del gobierno o entidades privadas que estén en este momento ofreciendo algunos bids para que ustedes puedan participar, puedan conocerlos y puedan de pronto aplicar. Y terminaremos entonces en abril 26 de 6 a 7 y media de la noche con la clausura que esperamos sea ampliamente satisfactoria con los resultados que vamos a obtener. Para todos, muchísimas gracias. Que tengan una feliz noche, que sigan muy enfocados en el crecimiento de los negocios, que sigan muy enfocados en la pregunta clave que es ¿dónde están las oportunidades y qué debo hacer para aprovecharlas? Que estén muy bien.